We shall continue with the PYQs. Last lecture or last video recording, I completed question number 1 and 2 of December 2019 paper. Continuing with question number 3. Repeating again, your entire paper is for 80 marks. Question number 1 is always compulsory. General pattern is 5 marks each. Questions are asked in question number 1. So 4 questions of 5 marks, तो 20 marks का question number 1 बनता है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 से लेकर 6 तक हर एक क्वेश्चन 20 मार्क्स का होता है 668 के फॉर्म में. उसमें से आपको कोई और 3 क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करने होते हैं 2 से लेकर 6 तक, तो दैट बिकम 60 मार्क्स एंड 20 मार्क्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. ऐसे आपका पूरा पेपर 80 मार्क्स का बनता है. ओके, सो गेटिंग टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 ए. अल्फा एंड बीटा गिवन एज द रूट्स ऑफ द क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन. ये क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन दिया है z के फॉर्म में. We have to prove alpha raised to n plus beta raised to n is some value and alpha raised to n multiplied by beta raised to n is some value. Okay, this is a 6 marks question. So let's begin with the given quadratic equation. The given quadratic equation is z square sine square theta minus z sine 2 theta plus 1 equal to 0. We will use the formula method of solving quadratic equation. If the quadratic equation is something like this. So x की वैल्यू यहाँ पे मुझे मिलती है नेगेटिव b प्लस और माइनस अंडर रूट ऑफ b स्क्वायर माइनस 4ac डिवाइड बाई 2a. Let's start substituting the values here. So यहाँ पे z would be equal to negative of negative sine 2 theta plus or minus under root of b square मतलब negative sine 2 theta का square which will become sine square 2 theta minus 4 times a is sine square and c is 1, so it's okay, divided by 2 sine square theta. So यहाँ पे I'll get sine 2 theta positive plus or minus under root of, ओके एक काम करते हैं, ये sin 2 theta जो है उसको एक्सपांड करना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं यहीं से. सो z इज इक्वल टू हाफ एंगल फॉर्मूला 2 sin theta cos theta हो जाएगा ये and divide by 2 sin square theta for this one. Again here 2 sin theta cos theta का स्क्वायर है मतलब 4 sin square theta cos square theta it will become minus 4 sin square theta as it is. The entire thing divided by 2 sin square theta. The denominators for both the terms. First term में 2 gets cancelled. One of these sign gets cancelled. I'm left with cot theta. Cos by sin तो cot. Plus minus. ये दोनों में से 4 sin square common. Okay, this 4 sin square will be common. So when 4 sin square comes out of the root, it becomes 2 sin theta. And I'm left with under root of cos square theta minus 1 divided by 2 sin square theta which is still remaining. 2 gets cancelled, sin theta gets cancelled with one of the sin thetas. I am now left with cot theta plus or minus. Now what is inside the root is actually negative sin square and denominator में एक sin theta अभी भी बचा हुआ है. So negative terms का root gives you I and sin square का root हो जाएगा sin. नीचे वापस sin है, that will get cancelled. So I'll have z is equal to cot theta plus or minus I. Now question says that alpha and beta are the roots. तो एक root alpha हो जाएगा. Alpha will be say positive root. You can take otherwise also. मतलब alpha को negative root भी ले सकते हो, कोई problem नहीं है. Negative as in cot theta minus, okay, whichever. So alpha and beta ऐसे ले लिया. Now observe question में alpha raised to n and beta raised to n की values के बारे में बात हो रही है. Addition and multiplication. So because it's talking about addition and multiplication of alpha raised to n and beta raised to n, what we'll do is we'll convert this Cartesian form into exponential form. Exponential form में आने के बाद powers लेना easy हो जाता है. Okay, तो exponential form कैसे convert करेंगे? हमारे पास अगर कोई x plus iy है तो we write it as r e raised to I theta, where r is given by under root of x square plus y square, and theta will be given by tan inverse y by x. Okay, so let's use this formula here. Let's calculate r, and because ये conjugate दोनों के r same होंगे, तो r की वैल्यू यहाँ पे होगी under root of cot square theta plus 1, which is nothing but under root of cosec square theta, which becomes cosec theta. Okay, now let's calculate theta, or the argument. I'll write it as argument because theta is already used there. So argument of alpha would be tan inverse, I के साथ 1 है तो 1 by cot theta. So that becomes tan inverse of tan theta, which is nothing but theta. Okay, and because beta is the conjugate, argument of beta would be negative theta. Okay, we have studied conjugate का argument जो होता है वो negative होता है compared to the original. So now can I claim that alpha is equal to r, that is cosec theta, e raised to I theta, and beta is equal to cosec theta e raised to negative I theta. Okay, so alpha raised to n will become cosec raised to n theta e raised to I n theta, and beta raised to n will become cosec raised to n theta e raised to negative I n theta. Question has asked you two things. First is alpha raised to n plus beta raised to n, दोनों को ऐड करना है, and second is alpha raised to n multiplied by beta raised to n, दोनों को multiply करना है. So let's add the two terms. When I add the two terms, cosec raised to n दोनों में common है. What I will have is e raised to I n theta plus e raised to minus I n theta. Now, if you remember, the formula for such a term is nothing but cos. Okay, this is cosec raised to n theta cos n theta, and that will be 2 times. I'll just write down the formula here. We have, say, cos of x. I'm using x here because theta is already present there, is e raised to ix plus e raised to negative ix divided by 2. So because the 2 was missing here, we have multiplied by 2 over here, and x is the angle, so n theta is the angle here. Okay, so that's how you write it, and I believe this is what they have asked you to prove the first thing. Yeah, cos आगे लिखा है and cosec पीछे लिखा है, we have got the same thing. आगे पीछे no problem because it's multiplication. So if we want, we can write it as 2 cos n theta and cosec raised to n theta. This is the first proof. Now we need to multiply them in the second one. So let's multiply them. So multiply करोगे तो cosec raised to n theta 2 बार multiply हो जाएगा, मतलब n plus n होगा उसका power. So cosec raised to 2n. And e raised to in theta and e raised to negative in theta will give you e raised to 0, which is 1. So this is only going to remain, and I believe that's what we need to prove. Yes. So yes, this was the proof of your question number 3A. I hope things are clear. We have used the concept of quadratic equations. We have used half angle formulae. This is basically question from complex numbers. Okay. And yes, we have converted the Cartesian form to exponential and then used the indices laws. Now let's move on to the next question. That's question number 4B. I'll just reduce this space. Okay. Question number 4B is Gauss-Seidel method. So let's look at Gauss-Seidel method. Gauss-Seidel method, to apply, you need to understand that first equation में x का जो term है वो highest value होना चाहिए. Of course, you don't look at the right hand side. Second equation में y के term की value highest होनी चाहिए. And third equation में z के term की, which is true here. So from the first equation, I will write x is equal to 1 by 15, 18 minus 2y minus z. I'll call it as equation number 1. From the second linear equation given to me, I'll write y is 1 over 20, 19 minus 2x plus 3z. That's equation 2. And from the third equation, I'll write z is 1 over 25, 22 minus 3x plus 6y. Equation number 3. Now always learn to pay attention to the name of the method. In this question, it is Gauss Seidel. Gauss Seidel का मतलब होता है you have to use the latest values. Okay. So let's begin with the first iteration here. When I start with the first iteration, I always start with equation 1 and I put for calculating the value of x. I need to substitute the values of y and z. Equation 1 में y and z डालोगे तो x मिलेगा. So you put y is 0 and z is 0 in equation number 1. When you do that, let's use the calculator. And while using the calculator, okay, I'm going to fix it to 4 decimal places. Okay, so that is something you need to remember. Your answer should be in 4 decimal places. Okay, so when I put zeros here in equation number 1, you will get x is equal to 18 by 15. So let's divide 18 by 15. Your answer is 6 over 5. In decimal form, it is 1.2. So you will get x is equal to 1.2. Now remember the method name is Gauss Seidel. So now you will put the latest value to calculate y now. X calculate कर लिया, y calculate करते हो, x की latest value डालनी है. Okay. So x is 1.2 डालोगे and z की latest value अभी तक 0 ही है. And this you will put it in equation number 2. So equation 2 will now become 19 minus 2 times 1.2 and this term is 0 divided by 20. So again, let's use the calculator. The numerator would be, okay, yeah, 19 minus 2 into 1.2 and the next term is 0, I don't write that, and then I divide this entire thing by 20. So the answer is 0.83. 0.83. Okay. Now we have the values of x and y. We need to put these latest value of x and y in equation number 3. So I will put y is equal to 0.83 and x, the latest value is 1.2 in equation number 3. When you put that there, using your calculator, of course, 22 minus 3 times 1.2 plus 6 times 0.83 divided by 25. Okay, you can check the calculation using your calculator. The answer will come to 0.9352. Now we move on because we found one set of values of x, y and z. पूरा set आ चुका है. We'll move on to the second iteration. Second iteration करते वक्त वापस x से स्टार्ट करोगे. x से स्टार्ट करोगे तो y and z की लेटेस्ट वैल्यू, मतलब आप डालोगे y की वैल्यू 0.83 एंड z की वैल्यू 0.9352 और ये इक्वेशन 1 में डालोगे. Okay, using your calculator you will be able to check that x is going to be equal to 1.0270. Now you will put this value of x in y's equation, that is equation 2, along with the z value. Fine, just to save your time, I'm just writing down the values and not getting into the calculation details. I hope the method is clear. And at the same time, when I put the latest values of x and y in the equation of z, I'll get 0.9938. This completes your iteration number 2. We move on to the third iteration. Now let's also check in the question what have they asked you. They have asked us to solve taking 3 iterations. So this will be the last iteration and ideally it should be like 2 marks per iteration. Fine. So let's calculate x, y and z. Again, we're calculating x. I will put the latest value of y and z, these two values there. And you should get 1.0021. While calculating y, you will put x is 1.0021 and z will be 0.9938, and you should get y is 0.9989, and lastly z would be 0.9995. So these are your expected answers using Gauss-Seidel method for the given set of linear equations. In case linear equation में ऐसा नहीं होता है कि XYZ मतलब equations आगे पीछे दिए हैं, कभी ऐसा दिया है कि ये equation पहले दिया और ये equation बाद में, नो प्रॉब्लम, आप equations को exchange कर सकते हो. अगर ये equation पहले है तो भी इससे y ही निकालोगे, जिसमें y की वैल्यू न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू सबसे बड़ी है उससे y निकालोगे, जिसमें x की न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू सबसे बड़ी है उससे x निकालोगे, और जिसमें z की न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू सबसे बड़ी है उससे z निकालोगे. यू डोंट कंपेयर द राइट हैंड साइड. यहाँ पे अगर देखोगे तो राइट हैंड साइड बड़ा है, 18 बड़ा है 15 से, बट देन यू डोंट लुक एट राइट हैंड साइड, you look at only the values on left, that is 15, 2 and 1. Okay, so that gives you your required answer. I hope the question on Gauss-Seidel is clear. This was question number 3b, which was asked for 6 marks. So let's kind of reduce the space and let's go to question number 4c. Now question number 4c is asking you to prove that if z is a homogeneous function of two variables x and y of degree n, so z हमको दे दिया है homogeneous है and उसकी degree दे दी है n दे दी है यहाँ पे. Okay, then they are asking you to prove this. This is your Euler's theorem itself for second order. Okay, and hence find some other value they have asked you. So the question is divided into two parts, and first part is a derivation. First part is a derivation and second half is a sum. So yes, derivations exam में पूछे जाते हैं. Okay, so let's begin with the derivation. It is given to us that z is homogeneous. I'll write this as since z is homogeneous of degree n. क्वेश्चन में सेकेंड ऑर्डर के लिए रिजल्ट प्रूव करना, तो फर्स्ट ऑर्डर का रिजल्ट यू कैन अज्यूम. ओके, therefore by Euler's theorem, first order result we have x times delta z by delta x plus y times delta z by delta y is equal to nz. This was your result for first order. I leave it as equation number 1. Now because आपको second order derivative चाहिए, मतलब आप first order derivative को differentiate करोगे. First I'll differentiate equation number 1 with respect to x. So now let's understand the first term over here has two terms. One is with x and this also can have x. Okay. So UV rule लगाएंगे. U derivative of the second term will give me the second order derivative plus V as it is. Derivative of x will be 1. Now the second term y is a constant, so no problem. But delta z by delta y हमको नहीं पता उसमें x है कि नहीं है. It can have x still. Okay. So when you take its derivative, it will come to delta square z by delta x delta y. And right hand side will become n constant delta z by delta x. Now once we've got this, let's simplify this a little more. I'll have x delta square z by delta x square plus y delta square z by delta x delta y equal to n delta z by delta x minus delta z by delta x. Now this negative one has come from here. This term I have brought it on the right hand side, तो ये negative हो जाएगा यहाँ पे. Okay, and यहाँ से अगर delta z by delta x common ले लिया, so I'll be left with n minus 1. Also, let's observe हमको जो term चाहिए वो x square times चाहिए. ये double derivative वाला term जो है वो x square times है. And what we have got so far has only x, not x square. So what you need to do is you need to multiply throughout by x. You need to multiply throughout by x. So let's multiply by x. So we'll be multiplying each term by x. So first term will become x squared deba square z by deba x square. Let's write it a little more properly. Plus x into y times deba square z by deba x deba y. Each term is getting a x. The right hand side will have x deba z by deba x into n minus 1. Let me call this as equation 2. Your required form also requires deba y square. So, of course, we will be again differentiating equation 1 with respect to y. You will do it one below the other. I'm doing it besides because I just want to see the equation then and there. And screen पे आपको भी सामने सामने दिख जाएगा. अब यहाँ पे first term में x constant होगा deba square because you're differentiating with respect to y, okay? यहाँ पे deba y deba x आ जाएगा. Plus now here it will be uv rule y into this. So u as it is derivative of v plus v as it is derivative of u n times deba z by deba y. Now let's simplify this. X times deba square. Okay, xy and yx gives you the same value. So you can write it like this as well. Y times deba square z by deba y square. यहाँ पे again deba z by deba y common लेके n minus 1 मिलेगा because of taking this term to the right hand side. Okay, steps are the same. We're just repeating it but then changing the variable. Now again, as we multiply there by x, we'll multiply here by y. So let's multiply by y. First term becomes xy. Second term becomes y square. And this becomes y times deba z by deba y. N minus 1 as it is. We'll call this as equation 3. Now observe the left hand side here. ये जो left hand side है इसको observe करो. Left hand side में जो terms है उसका ये जो first term है वो equation number 2 का first term है. And left hand side का जो last term है वो equation number 3 का second term है left hand side पे. So इन दोनों को add अगर करते हैं तो I think we should get our answer. So let's add equation number 2 and 3. So we will now be adding equation number 2 and 3. So when you add that, you will get x square deba square z by deba x square. Plus now observe xy times this and xy times the same term, तो 2xy हो जाएगा ये. Okay, I am actually adding equation number 2 and 3. So this term gets added to this term because they are same. And you get 2 times. Equation number 3 के left hand side में एक और term बचा है, that is y square deba square z by deba y square. Now we'll add the right hand side for both of them. n minus 1 common ले लेते हैं because both have n minus 1. I am left with x deba z by deba x and y deba z by deba y. Now observe equation number 1. Equation number 1 का left hand side है ये. And equation number 1 का right hand side gives me nz. So I am left with n minus 1 times z and I got this value from equation number 1. Let's observe what we had to prove. The theorem is what we have got here and exactly the same thing we have proved here. So we have completed with one part over here. We have completed with the proof part. Okay. Now the question doesn't end here. Question में hence find the value of लिखा है. Of course, इसका left hand side exactly same है जो हमने अभी भी prove किया है. But right hand side में n minus 1 z है. So हमारे पास पहले तो n की value होनी चाहिए and z is given to you. Okay, so let's see. But observe one thing, z is not completely homogeneous. ये z है आपका यहाँ पे. Okay. Z पूरी तरह से homogeneous नहीं है. इसको कैसे करेंगे? Let's see. So, okay, I'll just create little more space because I'll require space. 8 marks questions are generally bigger. Okay, and let me use a different color pen. Okay, so z is given to us as x raised to 6 tan inverse x square plus y square divided by x square plus xy plus x raised to 4 y raised to 4 and x square y square. Okay, so this is what is, okay, I think there is a plus in the numerator if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and denominator में plus नहीं है. ठीक है. Okay. So now what we'll do here is we'll assume u and v. U is x raised to 6 tan inverse x square plus y square divided by x square plus xy. And v is x raised to 4 plus y raised to 4 divided by x square y square. ये अलग अलग क्यों किया यहाँ पे, क्योंकि ये दोनों टर्म्स होमोजीनियस है बट दोनों की डिग्रीज अलग अलग है. ओके, सो होमोजीनियस है ये कैसे चेक करेंगे यहाँ पे. You need to substitute xy की जगह पे tx and ty. So this what we have here is u of x comma y. Now I'll be writing u of tx comma ty. So the first term becomes t raised to 6 x raised to 6 tan inverse t square x square t square y square. जहाँ जहाँ x और y है वहाँ tx ty डाल रहे हैं. ओके, so ये हो जाएगा t square x square, ये tx ty. Now observe t raised to 6 x raised to 6 tan inverse न्यूमरेटर से t स्क्वायर कॉमन, डिनोमिनेटर में भी t स्क्वायर बिकॉज सेकेंड टर्म में t इंटू टी है तो t स्क्वायर हो जाएगा, तो x स्क्वायर प्लस एक्स स्क्वायर. अब ये t स्क्वायर कैंसिल हो गया. व्हाट आई एम लेफ्ट विथ इज t रेज टू 6 इंटू u ऑफ x कमा y. ये जो पूरा टर्म यहाँ पे बचा है मेरे पास, दिस एंटायर थिंग doesn't have a t, right? T gets cancelled. Only there is one t here. So I'm left with t raised to 6 into uxy. Now whatever this power we got, that is your n. This is the degree of homogeneous. Okay. So I will now claim u is homogeneous of degree 6. U is homogeneous of degree 6. Now same way we'll check it for v also, and again as we did there, यहाँ पे v को लिखेंगे v of x, y because यहाँ पे x and y के terms में ही v है. And let me shift it little more to the right so that it doesn't coincide with you या फिर confusion ना हो. Okay, so that's my v. Now I'll calculate v of tx ty, मतलब x and y की जगह पे tx and ty डालेंगे. So यहाँ पे t raised to 4 x raised to 4 t raised to 4 y raised to 4, डिनोमिनेटर में t स्क्वायर x स्क्वायर t स्क्वायर y स्क्वायर. अब इसी तरह का एक और क्वेश्चन था जहाँ पे डिनोमिनेटर में प्लस साइन था. ओके, तो वहां पे डिग्री चेंज हो जाती है, आपके होमोजेनियस फंक्शन की डिग्री चेंज हो जाती है. वर्किंग का मेथड एग्जैक्टली सेम होता है, तो फंक्शन थोड़ा सा इधर उधर चेंज कर दिया तो आपको मेथड तो सेम रखना है, थोड़ा सा यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट मैथ्स है, नंबर्स चेंज होने से मेथड सेम होगी बट देन कैलकुलेशन का टेक्निक चेंज हो जाएगा. ओके, सो यहाँ पे न्यूमरेटर से t रेज टू 4 कॉमन, x रेज टू 4 y रेज टू 4 हो जाएगा. डिनोमिनेटर में वापस t रेज टू 4 कॉमन बिकॉज t स्क्वायर मल्टीप्लाइड है, और अगर प्लस साइन होती तो मल्टीप्लिकेशन नहीं होता तो t स्क्वायर कॉमन आता तो डिग्री वहां पे चेंज हो जाती. एंड नीचे बचा है x स्क्वायर वाई स्क्वायर. अब ये t रेज टू 4 कैंसिल हो गया है, and observe this part is nothing but your v of x comma y. Okay, so again this is now there's no t remaining, तो t raised to 0 लिखेंगे इसको यहाँ पे. सो अगर नीचे प्लस होता तो टी स्क्वायर बच जाता, एंड यहाँ पे बिकॉज नहीं है कुछ बचा तो टी रेज टू 0 लिख दिया तो 1 हो जाता है वो एक्चुअली. ओके, सो ये जो है ये डिग्री हो गई आपकी यहाँ पे ऑफ होमोजीनियस इक्वेशन. ओके, सो आई कैन नाउ क्लेम therefore v is homogeneous of degree 0. In this case it is degree 0. Okay, now the question is asking you, okay, 1 minute. Yeah, the question is asking you this value, that is this value. Okay, question is asking you this value. तो ये वैल्यू कैसे निकालनी है यूजिंग दिस फॉर्मूला जो हमने अभी अभी निकाला है, बट देन हमारे पास z नहीं है होमोजेनियस, u एंड v है. तो ये जो एक्सप्रेशन है हम u एंड v के लिए कैलकुलेट कर लेंगे पहले. तो लेट्स डू दैट. So here I'll get x square deba square u by deba x square 2xy times deba u deba square u by deba x deba y and y square times deba square u by deba y square. इसकी वैल्यू होगी n(n-1). ओके, दिस we'll call it as n1. तो n1 minus 1 times u. तो let's substitute the values. n1 की जगह 6 डालेंगे and 6 minus 1 is 5 into u, तो ये हो जाएगा आपका 30u. Okay, same way I'll also calculate for v because v is homogeneous, right? So x square deba square v by deba x square 2xy times deba square v by deba x deba y and y square deba square v by deba y square. Let me call this as n2. तो ये हो जाएगा n2 minus 1 into v. अब यहाँ पे n2 खुद ही 0 है तो उसके बाद कुछ भी मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर लो आंसर 0 ही आने वाला है. तो ये पूरे टर्म की वैल्यू 0 है. लेट मी कॉल दिस एज इक्वेशन नंबर से 1 and 2. ओके, क्वेश्चन में हमको पूछा गया है डेबा स्क्वायर z की वैल्यू. सो बेसिकली इफ आई ऐड इक्वेशन 1 and 2 एंड डिफरेंशियल ऑपरेटर्स जो होते हैं वो लीनियर होते हैं, मतलब एडिशन दे अलाउ ऑफ द फंक्शंस. सो व्हेन आई ऐड इक्वेशन 1 and 2 I'll get x square deba square u plus v by deba x square. So let's understand what did we do here. We have added this term with this term. We're adding the terms. Then we will add this two terms. And lastly, we would add these two terms. Okay, similar term. The only difference is left hand side वाले equation, मतलब equation number 1 में सारे u के terms हैं, right hand side वाले equation में सारे v के terms हैं. तो आपके पास डेबा स्क्वायर u plus v आते रहा. Denominator and everything is exactly the same. And right hand side पे 30u plus 0 हो जाएगा which is 30u itself. Okay, अब ये जो हमने u and v लिए हैं वो z से निकले हैं ना, ये अगर यहाँ पे u and v डाल दोगे तो u plus v है z की वैल्यू. तो u plus v की वैल्यू z लिख सकते हैं हम यहाँ पे. तो जहाँ जहाँ u plus v है I'll replace it by z. Okay, I have to replace by z. And right hand side पे मेरे पास u plus v नहीं है, 30u है. There's one more thing in the question which you need to remember or check it out. कि ये जो वैल्यूज है एट x इज इक्वल टू 1 एंड y इज इक्वल टू 1 निकालनी है। मतलब u जो 30u निकला है उसमें मुझे x एंड y की जगह पे 1 डालना होगा। ओके, सो इसको हम यहाँ पे इक्वेशन 3 करके छोड़ते हैं। हम थोड़ा सा कैलकुलेशन करना पड़ेगा। आई डू वन थिंग, आई पार्टीशन योर एंड कैलकुलेट। u में मुझे x एंड y की जगह 1 डालना है। ओके, सो व्हाट वाज योर u? U is this. Okay, so u when 1 comma 1. Okay, I'll substitute this. So 1 raised to 6 tan inverse 1 square plus 1 square, which is 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 into 1. So I am left with 1 raised to 6. No, मतलब it's 1 only. नहीं लिखा तो चलेगा, यहाँ पे tan inverse 1 हो जाता है। Remember, ये जो वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करोगे वो रेडियन में कैलकुलेट करनी, नॉट इन डिग्रीज। तो tan इनवर्स 1 हो जाएगा आपका पाई बाय 4, दैट्स 45 डिग्रीज। ओके, एंड इस वैल्यू को हम इक्वेशन नंबर 3 में जब सब्स्टिट्यूट करेंगे, सो नाउ दिस इज इक्वल टू 30 times pi by 4, which turns out to be 15 pi by 2. I hope the sum is clear. This was the 8 marks question, and yes, you can see the length and extra efforts that need to be put in for an 8 marks question. So yes, the 8 marks questions are in. So this completes the question number 3. We'll move on to question number 4. Question number 4 again belongs to complex numbers, and question number 4a actually, not 4 completely. Question number 4a is belonging to complex numbers topic. And if you observe question number 4a here, the question is in the form of tan of a complex number, and right hand side पे आपके पास another complex number है। तो इसको कैसे टैकल करते हैं, इसका एक छोटा सा शॉर्टकट टेक्निक है, वो देख लेते हैं। सो यहाँ पे हम ऐसे स्टार्ट करेंगे कि tan of alpha plus I beta is cos theta plus I sin theta. Call this as equation 1. Then we can say tan of alpha minus I beta is cos theta minus I sin theta. Okay, this can be expanded and checked. You don't need to show the steps. What you need is the value of alpha and beta. You need the values of alpha and beta. Okay, so let's start with tan of 2 alpha. So ये tan of 2 alpha कैसे मिलने वाला है? Tan of alpha plus I beta plus alpha minus I beta. इन दोनों को जब ऐड करोगे तो I beta कैंसिल होके 2 alpha बचेगा। So यहाँ पे we will use just a second. Yeah, we will use the formula of tan of A plus B, which is tan A plus tan B divided by 1 minus tan A times tan B. So let's do that. So I will now get tan A, that is tan alpha plus I beta, plus tan B, which is tan of alpha minus I beta, divided by 1 minus tan of alpha plus I beta into tan of alpha minus I beta. Okay, just to make my work a little more simpler, what I'll do is, before writing equation 1 and 2, I'll write this in polar form. This is nothing but e raised to I theta, and this is nothing but e raised to minus I theta. ठीक है? So बेसिकली हम अपने कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से पोलर या फिर एक्सपोनेंशियल फॉर्म ले लेंगे। ये मैंने एक्चुअली एक्सपोनेंशियल में लिखा, सॉरी मैंने पोलर बोला। ये आपका यहाँ पे, एक मिनट, ये पोलर फॉर्म है और ये एक्सपोनेंशियल फॉर्म है। ठीक है, सो जहाँ पे जो इजी होगा कैलकुलेशन वो फॉर्म में ले लेंगे हम इसको कैलकुलेट करते वक्त। सो एडिशन में मेरे लिए पोलर फॉर्म ज़्यादा इजी है, tan अल्फा प्लस आई बीटा एंड अल्फा माइनस आई बीटा, मतलब इक्वेशन 1 एंड 2 के पोलर फॉर्म्स को ऐड करेंगे। तो जब पोलर फॉर्म को ऐड करोगे तो 2 cos थीटा बचेगा, एक्सपोनेंशियल से करोगे तो भी सेम आंसर आएगा, थोड़ा सा लंबा कैलकुलेशन हो जाएगा। 1 माइनस, जब मल्टीप्लीकेशन की बात आएगी तो एक्सपोनेंशियल से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, तो e रेज टू आई थीटा इनटू e रेज टू माइनस आई थीटा, तो e रेज टू 0 बचेगा विच विल बी 1. सो नाउ यू कैन सी दिस इज बेसिकली इंफिनिटी बचेगा बिकॉज डिनोमिनेटर 0 हो जाएगा. सो tan 2 अल्फा अगर इंफिनिटी है तो 2 अल्फा विल बिकम pi by 2. Now let's understand, we just don't want one value and you can also observe here n pi है, तो tan की values जो है they are periodic by n pi. So n pi periodic है, मतलब after every pi they keep repeating. So you will add n pi here. So alpha की जो value हो जाएगी वो pi by 4, n pi by 2 हो जाएगी. So this is your alpha. This is your alpha. I hope this is clear with all of you. So that's your alpha. Question doesn't end there. Question is also asking you to find beta. So again, as we did for tan 2 alpha से start किया था, we will start with tan 2 beta. Just a minute, the software is running a little slow. Okay, yeah. So we'll start with tan 2 beta. I'm starting it here so that things are visible, like everything is on the screen. So tan 2 beta करना होगा तो tan of alpha plus I beta minus alpha minus I beta करेंगे तो ये मिलेगा हम. Actually 2 beta नहीं मिलेगा, 2 I beta मिलेगा. Okay, because alpha alpha cancel, I beta add करोगे तो 2 I beta. Now we'll use the formula of tan of a minus b. So what's the difference in the formula? A plus था तो ऊपर plus था, minus होगा तो ऊपर minus और नीचे plus हो जाएगा, उल्टा हो जाएगा. So let's substitute the values accordingly. तो numerator will become tan of alpha plus I beta, minus sign आएगी यहाँ पे, alpha minus I beta. Denominator would be 1 plus tan times alpha plus I beta into tan alpha minus I beta. Let's substitute the values. Again, as I said, equation 1 and 2 से जैसे convenient होगा वैसे polar form and exponential form use करेंगे. Addition करते वक्त polar form is more useful. So यहाँ पे actually subtract करना है तो cos theta cancel होके I sin theta 2 बार बचेगा. And denominator में because it is multiplication, तो when you multiply exponential, आपके पास 1 plus 1 बचेगा. So, and also on the left hand side you have कॉम्प्लेक्स एंगल. ओके, तो कॉम्प्लेक्स एंगल का क्या होता है, tan में आई बाहर आके tan हाइपरबोलिक 2 बीटा बचेगा. अगेन यहाँ का आई कैंसिल, सो यू लेफ्ट विथ tan हाइपरबोलिक 2 बीटा is 2 sin theta divided by 2. 2 gets cancelled. What you're left with is tan hyperbolic beta, या फिर I can write 2 beta is tan hyperbolic inverse sin theta. So let's use the formula for hyperbolic inverse. Hyperbolic inverse का formula tan hyperbolic inverse of z is 1 by 2 log of 1 plus z over 1 minus z. Okay, so let's use that particular formula over here and simplify. Instead of z we have sine. So this becomes 1 by 2 log of 1 plus sine theta divided by 1 minus sine theta. Now if you observe, okay, there's a correction in the question also. The question should have a tan here. Okay, if you observe, the question doesn't have a sign remaining and things like that. So of course 1 plus sine theta and 1 minus sine theta का formula लगाना पड़ेगा, but then we don't have formula for 1 plus sine and 1 minus sine. Rather we have formula for 1 plus cos and 1 minus cos. Okay, So we'll have to apply the formula for cos here. So how to apply the formula for cos? We'll convert this sine into cosine, that is cos, using complementary angles. So ये हो जाएगा half log 1 plus cos of pi by 2 minus theta. Sine को cos pi by 2 minus theta लिखेंगे. Same thing in the denominator. Now numerator is 1 plus cos of some angle. तो ये हो जाएगा 2 cos square half angle. तो पाई बाय 4 माइनस थीटा बाय 2 दोनों हाफ हो जाएंगे यहाँ पे. 1 माइनस कॉस के लिए 2 साइन स्क्वायर बचता है. एंड दिस विल आल्सो बी लाइक पाई बाय 4 माइनस थीटा बाय 2 एंगल हाफ हो जाएगा. 2 गेट्स कैंसिल एंड ये जो स्क्वायर है, ओके लेट मी राइट दिस, हाफ लॉग आई गेट कॉट स्क्वायर, cos by sin है, right? Angle is the same. Okay. So this cot square, which is a power, can go out. So here I'll get 2 by 2. Cot of pi by 4 minus theta by 2. You want the answer in tan. So again, we'll use complementary angles ka formula. So this becomes log of tan, complementary means pi by 2 minus this angle. Pi by 4 minus theta by 2. So this is log of tan pi by 2 minus pi by 4 is nothing but pi by 4. एंड माइनस माइनस ये प्लस हो जाएगा. लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट ये 2 बीटा की वैल्यू है, तो बीटा की वैल्यू विल बी हाफ टाइम्स दिस. ओके, हाफ टाइम्स दिस. So let's check whether we have got what is required. So yes, beta is half times log of tan pi by 4 plus theta by 2. Tan was missing in the question. And these corrections do come during the exam. And hence it is advisable that you don't leave the exam hall in between. Okay, stay till the last. That's which will help you. Okay. So yes, we have proved both the values of alpha as well as beta, and this completes question number 4a. Let's move on to question number 4b. In the last video, we did something similar, and that I said was Maclaurin series because जब आपको वहाँ पे x के powers में convert करना था, ठीक है? I'll show you the question. It's there on the same page. But of course, the solving is present there. Okay. यहाँ पे powers of x बोले गए थे. Very clearly the question says powers of x. Powers of x है तो फिर Maclaurin. And at the same time I told you जब powers of x minus या x plus कुछ बोलेंगे तो आपको Taylor series use करना है. Okay, so now observe this is power of x minus 1. Meaning you're expected to use Taylor series. Okay, so how will we start with this particular question? We start with जो function हमको दिया है उसको f of x assume करेंगे. And we start taking its derivatives. So f dash, the first derivative will be 5x raised to 4, 3x square minus 2x plus 1. Let's take double derivative. तो ये हो जाएगा 20x cube plus 6x minus 2. Triple derivative. This will be 60x square plus 6. Fourth order derivative will be 120x and fifth order derivative is 120. इसके बाद के सारे derivatives 0 होंगे. Okay. So we stop at this because all the derivatives after this will all be 0. Now let's understand यहाँ पे x minus 1 के powers में करना है तो you will have to find the value of f of 1, f dash of 1, double dash of 1, triple dash at 1, fourth order at 1. Okay, 1, sorry, not x. The software is taking time. Yeah. And lastly, fifth order at 1. So जहाँ जहाँ x है वहाँ पे 1 डालोगे. First equation will become 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1. So what is remaining is plus 1. ये cancel हो जाएगा, correct? Then this is 5 plus 3 minus 2 plus 1, which becomes 7. This becomes 20 plus 6 minus 2, which becomes 24. This becomes 60 plus 6, which is 66. This becomes 120 and this also remains 120 क्योंकि यहाँ पे x है ही नहीं, तो आप कहीं पे भी कुछ वैल्यू नहीं डाल सकते, तो 120 का 120 ही रहेगा. Okay. Now let's use Taylor series formula here. And as I said last video also, whatever formula you're using, write the names, write the formula. So by Taylor series expansion, f of x can be written as f of a plus x minus a times f dash of a, x minus a the whole square divided by 2 factorial f double dash of a, and so on. Now what you want is not x minus a, you want x minus 1. तो आपको a की जगह पे 1 चाहिए. Okay. And of course left hand side में fx की value. And this is an infinite series. Of course for us it is going to wind up after the fifth order derivative because उसके बाद के सारे derivative 0 है. तो left hand side में fx डालेंगे, means x raised to 5, x cube, x square, x and 1. f of a की जगह f of 1, x minus 1, f dash of 1, x minus 1 square, f double dash of 1, and so on. Let's start substituting. Okay, I need to keep it up. F of 1 is 1. X minus 1 as it is. F dash की जगह पे 7. X minus 1 the whole square divided by 2 factorial is 2. F double dash is 24. X minus 1 the whole cube divided by 3 factorial you will actually have, which is 6, and multiplied by 66. X minus 1 the whole raised to 4 divided by, you will have 4 factorial, which is 24, and 120. And lastly, x minus 1 the whole raised to 5 divided by 120, which is 5 factorial, into 120. इसके आगे के सारे terms 0 होंगे. So I kept it as 0 there. Let's simplify this. So you have 1 plus 7 times x minus 1, 12 times x minus 1 ka square, 24 and 2 gets cancelled, 11 times x minus 1 cube, 120 divided by 24, so that's going to be 5. The eraser is difficult to use. Okay. And lastly, x minus 1 the whole raised to 5. This is your required expansion. This is your required expansion in the terms of, ये देखो x minus 1 के powers के form में आ चुका है. ठीक है? Question यहाँ पे complete नहीं हो रहा है. Question में there are 2 more parts asked. First is f of 9 by 10 and second is f of 1.01. Okay? So 9 by 10 वाला part करते हैं पहले and then 1.01. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. So f of 9 by 10 will be your LHS. Okay, this is f of x. So you will replace, let me use a different color. Actually, the software is going pretty slow. Okay, I think there's some update. So you replace x as 9 by 10 So on the right hand side, you can see x minus 1 everywhere. So let us calculate x minus 1 also. So that's going to be 9 by 10 minus 1, which will be negative 1 by 10. Okay. And you can, of course, use it in decimals. This will become 0.9 and x minus 1 will become negative 0.1. And we will definitely require a calculator here. Okay. So I'm going to minimize and use the calculator at the same time. Okay, first let's write down the value and then use the calculator. So we'll substitute these values in equation number 1. And let me scroll the screen to this side a little. Okay. So left hand side becomes f of 9 by 10. Right hand side is 1 plus 7 times x minus 1 is replaced by negative 0.1. 12 times negative 0.1 square. 11 times negative 0.1 cube. 5 times negative 0.1 raised to 4. Then we have only our 5 term as it is, no coefficient, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Yeah. So negative 0.1, the whole raised to 5. Let's use a calculator here. You have 1 plus 7 into negative 0.1 plus 12 into negative 0.1 square plus 11 into negative 0.1 cube. 5 times negative 0.1 raised to 4, and lastly negative 0.1 raised to 5. So the answer is 0.4095. That's your first value. Now in the same manner, you're expected to calculate f of 1.01. So to calculate f of 1.01, okay, and this is to be done in equation 1 actually. Yes. So to calculate 1.01, you will replace x is equal to 1.01 and x minus 1 is 1.01 minus 1, which is 0.01 in equation 1. And then you're expected to use a calculator and check if you're getting f of 1.01. I'm leaving the calculation actually to you all. Okay. I believe you have understood the first one and hence you'll be able to do the second one also. You should get the answer as 1.0306. Check if you're getting the answer as 1.0306. Okay. So that completes the entire question. This was question number 4B. Let's move to question number 4C. This will be the last question for this particular video. And then question number 5 and 6 I'll complete or cover in part number 3. Okay. The question says find the value of lambda and nu so that the equations have unique solution and infinite solution. First observation, the right hand side has numbers which are without xyz, मतलब ये non-homogeneous system है. Just a reminder, homogeneous system and non-homogeneous system दोनों को solve करने के methods अलग हैं. Okay. Because this is non-homogeneous system, we'll start with A augmented B matrix. You may write it with a comma or a semicolon also. Coefficients of x, y, z, 1, 1, 1. Coefficients of x, y, z from the second equation, 1, 2, 3. X, y, z from the third equation, 1, 2, and lambda. A dotted line or a dash, and right hand side, 6, 10, and nu. You need to convert this into echelon form using row transformation. So R2 gets converted to R2 minus R1. R3 gets converted to R3 minus R1. You will now have this as the first row remaining the same. सेकेंड रो में यहाँ पे 0, यहाँ पे 1, यहाँ पे 2, 0, 1 और ये लैम्बडा -1, यहाँ पे 4 एंड यहाँ पे न्यू -6 है। तो R3 will get converted to R3 minus R2. First row as it is, second row as it is, थर्ड रो में यहाँ पे 0, यहाँ भी 0, यहाँ पे लैम्बडा -3 एंड यहाँ पे 6, 4 एज इट इज, यहाँ पे न्यू -6 -4 -10. Okay, so now if you can observe, this is an echelon form. This is an echelon form. So you may write this is an echelon form. Now once you get it in echelon form, we need to check the condition for which it has unique solution and you have infinite solution. So first thing, you need to remember the rules. You need to remember the rules. Okay, 1 minute. As I said, the software is running slow. Okay, so let's remember the rules and let's write it down as well. Always make it a habit to write down whatever you're using. So for unique solution, the rule is that rank of A should be equal to rank of A augmented B, should be equal to the number of unknowns or the number of variables. Now in this case, the number of variables is 3 because you have x, y, and z. So you should have rank of A should be equal to rank of A augmented B, should be equal to 3. Now observe, rank of A and rank of A augmented B will be equal to 3 only and only when this yeah, only and only when this term is non-zero. See, even if this is 0, it's okay, but then lambda -3 should not be 0. If this becomes 0, so rank of A will be 2 then. Okay. But if this is non-zero, A का rank automatically 3 हो जाएगा and A augmented B का भी 3 हो जाएगा. न्यू की वैल्यू 10 हो गई तो भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Okay. So that won't be an issue. The only thing which you need to take care is lambda should not be 3. That value should not become 0. Okay. Right. So this implies that lambda is not equal to 3. Lambda is not equal to 3. So this is a requirement for unique solution. So for unique solution, this was your requirement. Now let's look at the second option. The question also asks you to check under which condition or which values of lambda and mu you will have infinite solutions. So the condition for infinite solutions is rank of A will again be equal to rank of A augmented B, but this time this will be less than the number of unknowns. Meaning, in this case, it will be less than 3. Okay, so this time it should be less than 3. Now observe the matrix. These two rows are already non-zero, right? These two rows are already non-zero. Means the rank minimum has to be 2. Only and only when this last row becomes 0 row, you will have rank to be 2. Okay? So the last row to become 0, you should have lambda -3 0 and nu -10 both should be 0, which implies lambda is 3 and nu is 10 over here. So if both of these are having these values, you will have infinite solutions. You will have infinite solutions. Question does not end here. Question does not end here. Let's observe. First part, for what values of lambda and nu, the equation will have unique solution. We did this. For what value of lambda and nu the equation will have infinite solution. Find the solution in each case for a possible value of nu and lambda. Okay. So you are also expected to find the given solution for the values here in both the cases. So let's do it for the first one. So in the first case, we are supposed to assume, because वहाँ पे value exact नहीं है, lambda 3 नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ भी और हो सकता है. So let's assume lambda is something else apart from 3. So part 1, let lambda, which is not equal to 3, okay, is equal to some value. So let me take it as 2. I'm trying to take a smaller value. Okay. So if lambda is equal to 2, you can also take 0 or 1, whichever way. My matrix A augmented B, which we have already calculated over here, will now turn out to be 1, 1, 1, 6, 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 1. And of course, nu also I have to assume. So again, nu I'll assume says maybe 6, no problem. And I'll get a 0 here. Okay. So let's see what do we get here. We need to solve it. So I'll take R3 minus R2 and I'll get 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2. Let's subtract 0, 0. This will be minus 1, 6 as it is, 4 as it is, and this will be minus 4. Okay. Let's convert it into equation form to solve it. So you will have 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, negative 1 into the unknowns x, y, z is 6, 4, minus 4. Let's multiply the matrices on the left hand side. You will get x plus y plus z, y plus 2z and minus z here. You will now get 6, 4 and negative 4. Let's use a backward substitution. So minus z is minus 4, which gives me z is 4. Y plus 2z is 4, but I already know the value of z. So y plus 8 is 4, which gives me y is minus 4. And first equation gives me x plus y plus z is 6, which implies x minus 4 plus 4 is 6, which includes x is 6. So I will have x, y, z is 6 minus 4 and 4. Now understand, these answers will vary depending on what you choose for lambda and nu. Because here you were just supposed to not take 3, बाकी कुछ भी ले सकते थे. ठीक है, lambda की value 3 छोड़ के बाकी कुछ भी ले सकते थे. अब B part पे जाएंगे. B part में lambda and nu fixed है. Okay, lambda is 3 and nu is 10 is fixed. So now my A augmented B will become 1, 1, 1, 6, 0, 1, 2, 4, and last row was 0, right? Because of which we got the rank as 2. Now let's again go to the equation form. 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0 into x, y, z, 6, 4, 0. Let's multiply x plus y plus z, y plus 2z, and here it will be 0, 6, 4, and 0. Now you can see there are 3 unknowns and only 2 equations, so 1 free variable. It could be y or z, your choice. You can assume one of them to be some t. Okay. So suppose I assume z is equal to some t. You can do it for y also. So y would be 4 minus 2t. And when I put these values in the first one, I'll get 4 minus 2t plus t is 6. So x is equal to 6 minus 4 plus t, which is t plus 2. So your solution now would be infinite solutions basically. T plus 2, 4 minus 2t and plus t. So whenever you change the value of t, your value of x, y, and z will change. So that is how you get infinite solutions. And this completes your question number 4C. Again, you can see question number 4C, like C question, which is for 8 marks. It has to be lengthy, it will be lengthy. Okay. So do not forget to find the solutions. Do not forget to complete the sum there. And with this, I'll stop with part 2, and question number 5 and 6, I'll be doing in part 3, so that the video doesn't become very, very lengthy. Hope the solutions are helping you guys study. Thank you, students.